your name Pretty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Pretty Evie. I'm in Delta State. I work with the Delta State Civil Service, Office of the Head of Service as an administrator. I actually I did this social program in France with the Institute of Child Care. So I think some few years back, and I've actually been working personally on social issues. Wherever I find myself, I try to apply the experience I have on social welfare to taking care of adults, older people, and children particularly. At the
Right, thank you.
moment, At the
What
moment, I'm
do you do
running
at
on
the
my
head of
own.
service?
Yes, I'm an administrative officer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome,
Is
sir.
Rita with us? Rita, are you with us? Stella, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I am Mrs. Swago Stella, director.
Your background is not suitable for the program. No, we can't take lecture with that background. You need to seclude yourself and be in the best condition for the program.
Sir, is it better now?
You know what I'm talking about. You need to be on your own and then let the background befit what you are doing.
I am
You can
really
hear
actually outside every other person. I'm
It's
in
not
my
so.
bedroom.
We can hear you. We can hear the background. So please, it's important that the background is managed. If mine is like that, I'm not sure you will hear me.
I am hearing you actually. I'm hearing
You will
everything.
not. If my background is like that, it won't help the program. Please go ahead. But let us be sure that we prepare for the program and be in the best background for the program. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir. I am Mrs. Swago Stella, presently working with the Local Government Service Commission. I am moved by the passion I have for social work because it's like, I'm born to be a social worker. I'm being a push, I want to professionalize and I don't want to be a quack. That is what moved me into making sure I queue up with this program. Thank you, sir. I am from Ebonyi State.
What is your rank what position do you hold in the local government?
I am a director of social development.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next person. I am Agbo Guma. Stella Wago can please mute the mic.
Sir. Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Please go ahead. Stella Wago,
Can you
please
hear me?
mute your mic. Thank you. Go ahead, Agbo Guma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please go ahead.
My name is Akwaguma Juliet. I'm a deputy director with Ministry of Women Affairs. I have MSc in social work, though my first degree was in sociology. Presently doing my PhD in social work too. I just felt this is a new thing happening, so I want to be part of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is it Joma with us?
Good afternoon, sir.
Please go ahead.
I'm Mrs. Joma Emetilwe. I'm a deputy director in the Ministry of Women Affairs, Asaba. I've been doing social work for over 20 years. And when I heard about this program, I felt it's going to be laudable for me to participate in it, to be able to make better impacts in my field of service and in life. That is why I am here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I quite appreciate. We might all mute our mic so that we concentrate. And when it's time to unmute, we also unmute and speak and then mute. Thank you so much. My name is John Emaimo. I work with the Federal University of Allied Health Sciences. I'm also a practicing social worker. I would say I'm a teacher. I've been in social work for quite a while. Sorry? Can you mute your mic? Yeah, thank you. I've been in social work for a while. I actually one of the second set of social work, master social work degree in 1997 at Lagos State University. I did my PhD also in social work, University of Jos. I'm presently a professor of social work, and I've been in the practice of social work as well, consulting for USAID and other agencies like that. I am privileged to have you all in the class for discussion today. My business definitely is not about teaching you, but it's about leading a discussion on the social work program design and implementation. We will be talking in that direction and sharing experiences also as well, and then become guided in what is expected of us to do further and add strength and energy to the social work which we have been practicing. So I want to say, by way of introduction, that social work program designing is not new to all of us, but definitely the work of directors, deputy director, assistant director, is to design programs that meet with the government objectives and direction. I'm sure I am right, but I will take us through certain basic discussions on this matter, because we want to believe that at the end of this discussion, participants should be able to conceive and design not just social work program, responsive social work programs to issues that is within their own domain and issues they have been mandated to also try to resolve. Social work at this level where we are practicing is about initiating and developing design that can actually interact with the issues on ground. So this is one of the necessity for this very course in this program. By way of introduction, I will say that social workers are on the front line of empowering people to overcome poverty, hunger, and mental health issues. I'm sure this is clear to us and we know what I'm talking about. So they also apply their professional values, principles, and techniques to address social and economic problems as well. They work towards bringing about change in all ramifications, especially in the social milieu. Social workers imagine a world where problems are solved and there is actually no social problem anymore. But then this is actually not a strong possibility, given the fact that social issues is quite dynamic and it changes from time to time and also very challenging. So we will ask what is social work program designing? Or we say that effective social work programs are evidence-based, and they are also designed to deliver positive outcome for people. When we say effective social work programs, because we've been having social work programs from 1960, pre-1960, and we are still talking about the same problems that those programs were designed to resolve. It means there is a gap. The gap there is about the aspect of the effectiveness of the program we have been actually carrying out. We as directors, directorate cadre officers, we can look back and see that we joined the service a long time ago. for us to be wearing director's rank. We also have been in the society prior to even joining the services where we become director today. And from that time, I can bet you or tell you vehemently that there have been social work program designed and implemented from that period to where we are today. But you can also agree or testify to the fact that the programs is just like being continued year in, year out. And then the level at which the programs are designed have also addressed the challenges if we want to measure it. I won't want to say the percentage. All of us know how those issues have been measured and then to what extent the gaps have been closed. It shows that something is actually, there's a missing link between the effectiveness and the program itself. So what we are trying to talk about in this course is to take our minds back to that aspect of effectiveness and also make us take a look at what could make that thing effective and what could make it not effective. Because coming in to design the same program every year or year in, year out, 10 years, 5 years, same program of the same nature with different names shows that the effectiveness of it is not there. So it means there's something that is amiss that we might need to work out in our own time to be sure that we begin to actually close the gap, which we can measure scientifically. So I repeat by saying that effective social work programs, the word effective is the core here. Effective social work program exists, but effective social work program is what we are looking for. So effective social work programs is evidence-based. Evidence-based simply means that once the program becomes effective, there's evidence. When we are done with our program, we can measure the effectiveness and we can now also analyze to be sure that the situation before the program is clear and the situation after the program is also clear. We see to what extent the program has been able to react or relate or also address the situation that was on ground prior to the program implementation. So the programs we are talking about here is to be designed to deliver positive outcome for people. What is positive outcome for people can be an issue of argument, but the positive outcome for people in the terms of effective programs are concrete things that can be seen. Therefore, once implementation are systematically evaluated to measure their efficacy in delivering value to intended population, we believe that program design and implementation is intact. Social work professionals are interested in advanced education who are interested in advanced education need to understand the roles, design, implementation, and evaluation of program will place in building effective social work programs. I'm so happy when I listen to the members of this very discussion group. I'm very sure that all of us, almost all of us, if not all, a very slight number, a negligible number, who have been involved in program design and implementation. So this is a discussion group of technocrats who will bring in their experiences to bear in this very course as we move ahead. So let's look at the background of social work program design. We say that non-profits, private sectors, and governmental agencies employ social workers in various settings. I'm sure we at the government knows that we are policymakers. We actually try to control, manage, and put into line and conditions those from the private sectors. So including the health clinics, schools, human services agencies, hospitals, and so on, they all employed social workers. They empower people to overcome challenges in their work by, for example, advocating for child welfare programs, helping underserved communities obtain public services, and connecting individuals and families, counseling and psychotherapy services to those in need. At the highest level, practitioners combine their experiences with critical thinking skills to design, evaluate, and implement effective social work programs and policies. Definitely, every member of this class belongs to the highest level of practitioners. And you will agree with me that at this level, the major business that is on our desk is about critical thinking, designing, evaluating and implementing of effective social work programs that actually emanates or that are pointers to a fulfillment of our policy direction. This is where we are today. So it will be important for us to take our time to do justice to this program design and implementation. So I would just want to ask the class, what is involved in program designing? Can somebody speak to us? Just unmute and speak. We'll appreciate. What are involved in program designing? Because I want to believe almost all of us have been designing programs. Just let's have the preliminary ideas of what we think are involved in program designing. Please unmute and speak while I mute. Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Pretty, please go ahead.
Yeah, just in a short word, I would say the program designing is it has to do with the critical thinking, evaluation, and the implementation of programs, and it's the effective is an effective program, effective work program that has evidence or that is evidence-based.
Thank you. Any other concern? Thank you. Yeah, the class has to be interactive. We are dealing with leaders of the industry here. So your experience will be fine for us to share to build. Any other person? Are we all in the class? Can you say yes if you are here, apart from Pretty?
I'm here.
Oh, thank you, Madam Stella. Please say something. What do you think are involved in program designing?
Concerning program designing, I think the most important thing we do is to look at what we have in mind. And then, first of all, think about...
No, in whose mind? What kind of mind?
Okay, on the designer, like a social worker like I am now, right now. I think it is about looking at what you have in mind. Is it about
what mind?
child?
That we need to clear that mind. What do you have in mind? What mind?
Like when we talk, like
that's your own mind.
In my mind.
Okay, so you design what is in your mind.
Yes, when I have a program I want to design concerning child welfare.
Good. You are just coming to my point now. So you are looking at child welfare, that is your focus of design. Yes. But not what is in your mind.
That is my focus.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to look at the child. It's like with the past lecture we had, was talking about it. Maybe if I want to design an issue where a child does not come to school early, I will look at the child. I will look at it holistically and then look at why the child is coming to school late. What is the problem? Is it the distance? Is it the home-based issues? Is it what? I have to look at it holistically by, first of all, looking at the situation of the child, the problem of the child, the home base. All these things are put together to evaluate it, first of all, and know whether it is because of the society, is it because of the child, is it because of the home base. These are the things I look into before I begin to design the program.
Thank you very much. Any other person again? What are involved in designing? Okay.
So program designing puts, let me paraphrase it, it's the process of creating, developing, and implementing initiatives that address social needs in a community.
Great. Absolutely. What are involved in it?
You look at the society, you look at the community. When you go to the community, you involve the stakeholders, try to know their needs. You don't enforce it on them. When they tell you their needs, then you come together and implement it. Make sure that whatever you've done, in short, whatever you've done, we meet the desires of the community.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So key tasks include navigating administrative and organizational hurdles, such as government filing and funding, building awareness for the program, and planning for future. Of course, we know very well that we don't have to just go and implement program that community wants. For us to implement a program, there must be a professional analysis. You can mute your mics, Stella and Agbogoma. That will help us. So the first thing we do is that we look at the government direction, because as policymakers, I want to believe in every year there are policy directions on what government want to address. And what government want to address is also informed by what you have done on your decks that is forwarded to the government to also look at as an issue. So there is also the issues of fund. There's also issues of government direction. I'm sure you know that. If the direction of government is clear on what to do and funding is available there, then the program, then what we need to achieve, which is a target of government direction. These are part of the issues that are primary for us to design. We don't design because people want this. Sometimes what people want is not the issue. What people say they want might not actually be their problem. Expert analyzes what people want to be able to arrive at whether those things they want is actually the issues. And of course, if we go to communities as social workers, ask people what they want and design and implement whatever they want, we might still also not get the results as supposed to be. Because we talk with people in the community, gather all they want together, and then analyze it, and then be able to analyze which one are viable, which one are reasonable, which one even meet up exactly what their problems are. As experts, we are the one that will be able to put together what will resolve the issues, having listened to the people themselves. So invariably, it's not definitely a blanket business where we ask, what do you want? They say we want this. By saying that, we just go and start doing it. Expert approach comes into it to analyze and then fit it into government direction too. Because everything we do as social workers must also have, as government social workers in this case, must also have a direction of the government plan for the people as well. Government has key focus areas. I'm sure you know that. So those are the things that guide us as well. It's not possible for government to fund what is not in their key focus areas, but their key focus areas must align with people's areas of need as well. But it is our job as intermediary between the grassroots and the government to match that effectively and be sure that the people benefit from it and government as well benefit from it. I hope I'm in order.
Yes, sir.
So identifying an issue is number one element here. Whether helping people with developmental disabilities, empowering abuse survivors, or advocating for equal housing access, a social work program typically focuses on key issues. Choosing an issue in the planning and design stage can be challenging. Why did I say so? Because sometimes people can be flogging your office with needs and drop so many issues on the table. It's a business of the program designer to actually tease out what the issues are. I want to believe a lot of us are Christians here. There's this saying in the Bible that says that seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto it. What does this suggest to us? In program designing, we are looking at the critical issues. We are looking at what we can call compound issues. The compound issues has what we can also to tell you as the pillar issues. The pillar issues the compound issues must be addressed through the pillar issues. The pillar issues are the issue that we tease out. Once we deal with that first, it has a way of trickling down into the community, trickling down into the people, and solving some other problem for them on their own. Because social work is not meant to solve all the problem in the communities. They are to address cardinal issues that can trigger other resolutions. Are we there? Hello?
Yes, sir, we're here.
Great.
Yes, sir.
So choosing issue in the planning and designing can be challenging. It is not just a word or a statement. You to choose exactly what the issues are can be very, very challenging. So you must bring in your scientific method to table to be able to arrive at the issues to be taken. And we know in practice that government don't choose everything. In a year, there is a plan for each community and each society. Am I right? Therefore, your job and my job as practitioners is to sit and put this thing on a table and then choose what will best fit the people in a way that once that one is implemented, one or two or three is implemented, it can cascade to the rest and then be able to push other problems off. If we don't do it that way, we might be wasting money and wasting time in trying to address all the issues one after the other. So choosing the issue can be very challenging. A good strategy make the design process easier includes conducting an assessment, identifying needs and gaps in information and services within a community. I'm sure we all do this on a daily basis, but bringing back to your table to know that these are so paramount. I mentioned in my opening rider, I mentioned that we've done so many programs, but I'm not so sure if those programs actually solve the problem as we think, because many of the program we see many of us in the development cycle is recurrent programs. Maybe the name change, but the program is still the same. So something is telling us that the professionalism in dealing with the matter, the level of conception and designing, and then implementation, something is amiss. If not so, we should be focusing on something entirely different at every point in time. So definitely it becomes a key issue that people like us at this level, we have to go back to a drawing board to be looking at these issues of designing and the strategy to implement them to be sure that once a program is implemented, we can hand them over to the community and let them be able to manage it at their own level. So a good strategy make the decision process easier. So the strategy should be good. And all these strategies form part of designing. Because once you design without the strategic operational delivery method in your own planning cell may bring in a problem for us. Another factor to consider is the resources available to address those needs. Many a times we see program design during the implementation, they can't implement it holistically. Some part of it is implemented, some part are not, and some drop halfway. This is also what we can call challenge of design. Design must take into consideration what is available for it and then divide the design into compartments that if one sector is implemented and the other sector cannot be implemented due to fund release, timing, and so on, it's not actually destroying the design, the implementation as a whole. So if design is done on a flat tail design, where everything must be done from January to December before you can achieve results, that kind of design poses a problem. It will lead to a situation of waste. So the strategy is still part of it here. Finance is still part of it here because there's nothing you'll be able to do in terms of programming that inadequate finance will not be counted as part of a route to success. So homing on the target community, most progressing challenges create opportunities to make the desired impact. Like the last speakers actually said, what the community wants. I was just trying to elaborate that sometimes the community lack the capacity. We've been told in various studies that we do what the community wants for them, but we might need to analyze what they want if that is actually what the problems are. Because wants and problems are sometimes not same. However, we are not trying to also run away from the fact that some community knows exactly what they want. But we should also analyze to be sure that what that community wants is exactly what the issues are. Because if a community wants something and the proper analysis of wants is not put on the table to realize that this want appears as if their solution lies here. But in the table of reality, the solution doesn't really lie there completely. So the social workers can now come through what they want and then deviate to what actually the business is and then get the result. What we are talking about here on the part of professionalism is about creating a result that actually solves the problem too. So these are the issues that are put together for us to be able to navigate. Once we are at home with this, we should be able to understand basics of how to go about the program design itself. We have the other part of it that we call researching approaches. Social workers research existing programs to determine an evidence-based approach for addressing the identified need. Like I said, it's quite difficult for us to say that many programs we're taking up here are genuine, are novel programs that have not been done before. If you review the history of programs from 1960 to date, you'll find out that most of those programs have the semblance of each other and so on. In as much as there are some slight differences in them, a good research taken by this program team will be able to take us to the fact that of the gaps, or the facts to what are the missing link, the fact to how successful the first one were and what were the impediment to that success, so that to enable these second ones to, or the one we have at hand now, to pass through unhindered. So it is important for us to understand that we must actually be able to engage in a research phase of the design. When a design is conceived, there must be a research to be sure that it's not going to suffer setback like those other ones that have been done before, and it can actually reach the intended audience, and the expected results can also be gotten from it. So a program design research phase provides critical data for determining a solution. To what extent do we have enough data? The one we have done last year, if we ask today in the offices, can the data be provided? If the data are provided, are the data good enough to enable us, is the data reliable to enable us to work further on it to get what we are supposed to get? Then social workers rely on evidence-based decisions to create, implement, and improve social service programs. If programs are to be embarked upon through our design, it has to be designed based on evidence-based, and that is what I've been hammering, not just about the want. So the evidence available should support the need for that program. Once there's evidence available, I'm thinking it's going to be easier for us when we implement the program. So programs that have previously been implemented and evaluated provide evidence to an approach that will work. Even if elements have to be adapted to fit the population being targeted, with a new program, programs with little or no precedence require more justifications. That is to say, if a program is actually novel, program has not been done before, is very new, that direction is very new, there must be a strong evidence to provide that justification. And I'm sure we all know as professionals that program design doesn't go to the field. Sometimes some of us, after designing our programs, we judge the program on the face value. We evaluate it just by the team that designed the program, and then move to field to implement. In the normal practice, once program is designed, the team that designed the program need to subject the program to test by the team that did not take part in the design of the program. That is to say, social workers will be gathered together and they will make to engage the design of the program. And when the design program is engaged, there's an interface between those who design and those who are looking at the critical aspect of the program based on the ability for it to be implemented. So you need to defend your design. Design has to be defended. And when the design is defended and is successful, that is when we can all own the program and move into the field with it. Defense of the program is not a test of knowledge, because sometimes if you are a very senior person, if you design a program, you feel it doesn't make much sense for a junior person or a person lesser to you in rank to engage the program. once a program is being designed for the public, designed for a particular community, it's no longer a personal design. It's important that before such program is moved out of your ministry, move out of your office, there should be a team. Sometimes non-government workers are also invited to sit, to also listen to what you want to do. And then the program is explained to us, and they will engage it as community people. And you can also include one or two members of the community that are knowledgeable in the program outcome. And this can actually sharpen the design. And then when design goes to fields and return, it can be very sure, we can be very sure that that program, when implemented, will produce the result. So we have to look at it. This is also part of the research part of it. Because at the point where a program has been designed, every program design might look very beautiful in the eyes of those that designed them. But when we implement them, the result can also tell us that there was something not too fantastic about the design. But before going to the field, if that program is subjected to a better evaluation, it can give us a better result at the end of the day. So let's also begin to look at that as part of what we should be adding to our program. But when we design program, sit on the program ourselves, evaluate it ourselves, and give it a pass mark. At the end of the day, when we get to the field, something somehow usually happen to the program. And again, sometimes we may think that the community is not cooperating with us because they fail to see things the way we are seeing. We also should know that the designer's eye is different from the consumer eye. The community are those who are going to be the end beneficiary of that product. They might be seeing it differently from the way you are seeing it. So there should be some eye that collaborates and looks like what will happen at the other end. And that helps us very well. And that is where research approaches comes in. The research approach we are talking about here is not about what we do in our master's and PhD. This is a direct business, a direct research, a practical research method that pick its own methods directly and design from where we want to implement, and then it can produce a better result at the long run. So we need to also determine viable solutions. In designing a program, we need to determine that the program has the ability to bring out solutions. So a program design research phase provides critical data for determining a solution. If we don't have enough data to determine that solution through that design, we need to look for it, because it is at this point we are not implementing. We are actually going to gather data to then use the data to cross-check what we are putting on ground to be sure that that thing will bring a solution. You can imagine what I'm talking about. It's not something that is cheap, but very easy to do when you put them in practice. But not doing this will bring out a better stress at the end of the day, because if we take our time to sit down, design program, get fund from the government or any sponsoring agency, deploy people's skills and time into a project, at the long run, that project just look as if we just went to waste our time. So it's important for us to understand that whatever effort we put in at this level of designing, it will be more beneficial than going into the field to learn from our mistakes. So programs that have previously been implemented, like I said, and evaluated, provide evidence to an approach that will work. Even if we are going to still use the same approach, because we knew what the problem was at the beginning, or what the problem was in this other program, we will be able to manage the outcome of that, or if the emergence of that similar problem better. So even if elements have to be adapted to fit the population being targeted with a new program with little or no precedent require more justification, like I said. So designer may want to consider a pilot program to demonstrate a new approach efficacy, which can be critical for securing fund. Before fund can be given to you, if that fund is sourced from outside, you need to show in concrete terms the evidence that that program will produce results. And in showing that means that your program has to be practical, the program has to be scientific, the program has to be evidence-based, because funders are not interested in putting fund in stories. If they mistakenly put fund to it once, the second time they will not come for it again. And at this point, we should also present ourselves as professionals, and not just presenting ourselves, act as professionals, and also do things like professionals to be sure that there is that confidence in our own profession. So establishing logistic and partnership. Logistical requirement will vary depending on the program. For example, the arrangement for food bank project might provide purchasing supplies. So securing warehouses, finding sourcing partners, finding and sourcing for partners, identifying distribution partners is also critical to what we are supposed to do. I know very well that those of us at the government sector, we already have partners. The partners have also given us direction for the programs, for the programs direction for what they want and what they want to also sponsor. So it is now our business to sharpen our designs and be sure that there is also a good result coming in from their own effort, which is the sponsorship, the fund. Then also creating good experience for us and good experience for the community, and then fostering development at the long run. So creating relationship with other agencies and building a champion network is critical for promoting sustainability and attracting private funding and public support. And mind you, everything we're talking about here is about design, because funders usually don't fund programs. They actually fund design. When design is fantastic, funders bring in their money and then begin to work along with you to see how the design can produce results. So let's also say one or two things about raising awareness on program services. Effort to raise awareness will include evaluating an organization's profile at the Ministry of Women Affairs, Social Welfare, and the rest. A lot of us deals with organizations, and they are supposed to be registered with us. There are various checklists provided to us to use in checking and looking at all these institutions to be sure that they can provide results. So we need to raise our awareness, which I say include evaluating organizational profile and getting word out to individuals who will be helped by the program. That is the people at the other side of the program. Then strategies for raising program awareness will include traditional promotional activities, such as participating in community fairs, distributing printed material, and reaching out to media outlets. I'm sure we are doing this already because I follow up some programs and I realize that these are also components of activities that takes place at various government level as well. Then communicating the benefit of resources available to community being served require careful considering that community's need. Like we said, community's need is very important, because if community need is not addressed, whatever you go to community to do is seen as a mere activity. So I say, for example, efforts to reach those experiencing homelessness might require canvassing efforts rather than a social media campaign. So, for instance, I said, if you want to reach those experiencing homelessness, it might be by canvassing, going into social media to ask for those who are homeless to come, will actually bring to you those who are not homeless. So organizers must also consider access and inclusivity issues, such as making sure materials used, the language of the demographic being served are very, very compliant. Of course, it's not for me to tell you. We already know that there are languages social workers cannot go into, cannot use. Social workers cannot be controversial, cannot be recklessly criticizing issues that they don't really have so much strong knowledge about. Social workers cannot be involved in talking down on people, cannot be involved in name calling, castigating, and so on. This is never social workers' attitude. But then you can address issues like a educated person. You can address your concern, address your feeling, talk about what you don't like in a very sociable way. You can also do because these are some of those issues that we need to put on our fingertip and wear as our clothes, because we deal with people. You can be maybe insulting one other person publicly, or the clients are looking at you and watching you. By the time you are done insulting one person publicly, you look at your client and smile, oh, never mind this one. That man is a stupid man. And you want to talk with the client. The client already have a place he has put you. For those of us who post things online, talk in the media without understanding the implication of that to our own profession, we need to see that some of these things can also affect our approach or our being able to carrying out our job effectively with our client properly. Because client watches us in all ramifications. It's not only when we come with our project that the client sees us. They watches what we do. Even after we have interfaced with the client, they're also interested in knowing more who you are or knowing more about you. So one other aspect, preliminary in program design, we will not talk about it and conclude without talking about securing grants and funding. A lot of us are not also very enterprising in this aspect. Some of us are very good in it. Many of the grants we work with, I will tell you that some of them, if not all, come from the government. How many of us here have attracted grants outside government grant circle to the ministry where you work? How many of us have single-handedly written a project that project on its own attracted grants given to a department, not from government bureaucratic process of grant sourcing? These are also part of our work at the level of directorate cadre. Once we're able to put effective design on ground, and those design are meeting with the needs of the community and meeting with the need of the time, there is no way those grant would not design would not secure grants. I'm not talking to you theoretically, as at what we do at our own level. There is no year we don't secure grant not through government assistance. Our design of the programs usually secure grant from agencies. This year, as we speak, last year we were able to get grant from other agents, from governmental agencies. This year we were able to secure grants from Italian governments to run some programs that we are also engaging. So I will tell you that part of the skills that we need to update is about grant securing. And grant can never, I can tell you, be secured without effective program designing skills. Because when it is the program that they look at, and maybe the design of the program that they looked at, is that program design that they will be analyzed to see the need to give you grant. So it's important for us to pay more attention to this. And also note that government would not employ us for life. But however, what we know how to do in government is what we may do when we leave government. So there's need now to look at the second lane. There's need now to look at the next route. Because after directorship, what happened? It's important we begin to take this aspect we're talking about into strong cognizance, because if we have worked as social worker for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, we should form pillars of social work advising. We should form pillars of social work program consulting. And this, I want to believe, is one of the reasons why we are trying to make sure that people go through certain business like what we are doing here to begin to look at their life beyond government as well. And government will also benefit from your practice for now, but then you will be the higher beneficiary because you're already programming to work better again and return to government also to assist, but at a different level. Then primarily also, we need to up our skills because, like I said, program has to be evaluated. Of course, you know, programs are evaluated in 3 levels: preliminary level of design, then preparation to field level, then after implementation level. That is it, from the draft level, pre-implementation and post-implementation. When we come into the practice itself now on how this thing is done, we're going to discuss that in detail. So what I'm just doing now is to lead us through the preliminaries of these discussions so that we can be able to have a small background when we go into the real talk in practical terms on how do we design programs, which will be the next aspect of our discussion after these preliminaries. So I say that evaluating program and service effectiveness will involve data collection, and it is useful for evaluating programs and service effectiveness. Any program not evaluated at the design level is like going to field with blindness. And when we get to the field too, there are also some indices put on ground, and we want to believe that we are aware of monitoring and evaluation. When a program is designed, the M&E component of it is also attached to it, so that at every point in time, the program implementing partners or individuals knows what they'll be looking at to track and be sure that the program is online. So if you design a program and you cannot tease that the MIE component of it as it's going from one stage to another, it could be very, very likely that the program can derail without you, the director, knowing that the program has derailed. When you are just waiting for the result of the program, at the end of the day, the result will come at a point where we might not be able to reverse back and then rescue the program. By so doing, we would be forced and be left with no other choice to implement as it is to the end and then return back to write a report which we already know the results of the report. So the evaluation aspect is important that we begin to take a look at it. A lot of us knows what we mean by data collection. We also know how to collect information, demographic information, and other level of information we need. So program coordinators will learn who is being helped by a program and also know what benefit they receive from the program. Because in program marketing or program popularization, you need to be acquainted with who the program is helped and also be acquainted with what benefit those actually you feel are benefiting will get from the program, because you need to speak that out in clear terms and let people see where they stand to benefit in the program. Because if beneficiaries of the program do not also see any benefit in the program, it might be difficult to carry them along in total. The benefit of the program should not just only be on paper, should not just only be what we, the designer of the program, are saying. Beneficiaries should see how they benefit from the program, and the design should come out in clear terms of what are the benefits for those we intend to benefit from the program. So one data collection method is a questionnaire. We already know. I say we are talking about preliminaries here. A questionnaire will provide general performance overview, asking important questions and enabling leaders to see if the program is delivering on intended outcomes. Which part of the program is working and creating the most impact also will show where the questionnaire is fine. Then are there unintended consequences to consider? Then documenting participation from individuals in target population is a crucial component in determining of services which are properly and effectively organized. At this point, I want to draw our mind back to practical perspective. In this case, what we are saying here is not theoretical issues, they are practical concepts that, if implemented, provide results. I want to ask, in each program we have actually implemented over the years, have we done the analysis of the program? Have we done the impact analysis? Have we been able to find out to what level has that program impacted? Have we been able to return to the community on our own without being sponsored to check if what we have done has any impact? Have we done any report, a post-program report after 1 year, 6 months, or 2 years, to be sure that we can pound our chest and invite a funder that, oh, come and take a look. In 2005, we had this issue. We designed this program to mitigate. Then the program was implemented in 2006 or 2007. 2008, we went back. This is what we saw. Do we have documents like that in our offices as professional social workers? Because these are things that can easily bring in funders. These are things that can easily bring in grants for us when we are able to speak in this perspective. And again, you know that when fund is given to you in your office to implement a program, you are not supposed to completely exhaust the fund on the field. The fund should also be a little bit managed to include that aspect that will get people back to evaluate a post activity impact of the program. Because any funder will be interested in what you have done, not because you did it very well and the photograph is here, and then we also have a video recording. But beyond that, what other take home does the program end? The better take home for each program for both you and the community is to evaluate after the program again to be sure that you have a record of the change that took place before the program, during the program, and after the program. I don't know if this forms part of what we do in our own programming. If that is not, it's very vital, because when we also leave the government office also, program we implemented, our names are there. This report I'm talking about too, our names are also there. So when we are talking, we are also talking as informed person. We are also talking as people who also have in mind a progressive track of what we have done. I want to ask, in our own operations, is this what I've said now part of what we can display? Hello? Okay, please, can we speak on our own method and what are the evidence we keep, not for the office alone, for ourselves as individuals whom we are going to be challenged, or we are going to look for something to do as consultant tomorrow?
Question again.
So most of us have not been able to source funds from any other agency except the government. And because of that, if we're talking from that perspective. Like me,
Okay.
I've never sourced from any other agency except when we're talking about the social workers developing, like we're talking about associations which you gather together, and then at the end of it, you are able to, like I was able to implement the issue of granary processing to help the community involved in at least be productive and help themselves. But I know that when I left, I don't have any documents as to check how far it has gone. But when I left, that program did not continue. Another person took over the office. So I've not been able to source funds as to give a good report on what you're talking about right now.
Okay. Some other colleagues? Any other comments? Please go ahead.
So I don't know if it would be right to say organizing staff welfare among staff, the situation where there's no staff the office where I was able to set up such a welfare where the staff actually they benefit from and their welfare is actually considered. Though the finance involved also comes from the staff, there's this little contribution that they put in. And I know it's since it was created, it's still on till date, because even after I left there, the next person who came in have to take it up from there. I don't know if it's a good example.
Okay. Any other person? That's fine. Yes, from the first speaker, the project you've carried out is good, but the professionalism aspect of it requires that the project is documented. You have a copy. When the project was completed, you can as well set up a small 1-person or 2-person group to go back to evaluate what has been done and see a shift in it. If you have a shift in it, you can also document that. And you can be able, with the paperwork, shows the difference between when that thing was done and when it wasn't done. And at the end of the day, this can help you to get grants. But if there is nothing, if we don't have documents of what we have done, I'm not talking about carrying government paper to your house to go and keep. I mean documents of projects that you are involved in. When project document is written, when reports are being done of documents, I think we have copy. Then taking it up from there is like analyzing further, because it's not just enough to carry out a project. The funders are looking at what are the critical issues that project solved, and that is usually a post appraisal. And these are things that will count on you getting personal grants. Because if you go for grant interview, they will ask you questions about what program have you been involved in? And once you begin to read, I was in this, I did that, they'll take you on one or two of it and ask you, how was the program? Were you part of those who conceived the program? You say yes. What was your role? And you mention your role. And you need to show a letter evidencing when the role was given to you. If you were the manager of the program, did they write you? If you are the director in that office, you need to write yourself. The PS need to appoint you. If PS is not in charge, if you are director in charge, you set up the group and sign. This is the head, this is this is that. That shows you have a role to play. Then you need to be able to have evidence of program implementation, also have evidence of the pictures of the programs are also there. In fact, of course, every funder is look for evidence. Every funders look for evidence. So without a good evidence, it might be difficult for you to get grants. And when we leave our office presently, what are we thinking we are going to do at home with the experience of doing program with government here, there, and there? And how do we think we are going to be engaged further from where we are? I know many of us are not too old. A lot of us joined the service very early, and we are actually still very strong. And the experience is supposed to go ahead, but not to go home. So we need to be on the right pedestal and also be preparing for it. Now you know that certain questions will be asked. You know that you become a community champion. Community champion will show evidence in what they have been doing. So it's important that we follow this class, even though that this appears as if it wasn't what we came for, because I had at the introduction, somebody said it's a new thing. I just feel like joining it. Somebody said we heard of this. It's okay. Let's see how we can go along with it. But to me, I will tell you it's an absolute necessity, because with this you have group. People have talked with us earlier. I'm very sure other people are going to talk with us. We now have group we can also work with. We have people we can connect with. We have people that we can see issues and say, oh, there's something like this is up in my community. I want to see how we can key into it. We have people who can write for grants. We have people who can also help design programs and take you through the process of defending it. Because, like, for instance, I'm not in your community. If something happened in your community and we are still in packaging a design for you, we are not coming there. We only will sit and guide also, and those things work. So you must be within the right group. You must be within the right set of people. You must be within the right technical group so that things can also work. Because in social work, Mr. Know-all doesn't exist. In social work, Mr. Do-all also does not exist. Each and everybody, every part of us have our design, our part we can play. Even from what you see us talk about, every person has an area that they can actually come out to hold. These areas where we can come out to hold form a whole complete of what each and every person is looking for. And it is done with a team. It's not teams of theories, but teams of practical men who can, and women who can tell you their experiences and also show you what work they have done already. So I think we should be able to look at it differently. Before the end or at the end of this program, we'll be looking at our program direction differently. And we'll be looking at the fact that those programs that the government is actually getting for us, we need to be able to work to get ours. It is when we are able to get one or two of it that you can also be rest assured that the NGO you are thinking can stand. Because NGO, government will not bring fund to it. You need to go for the fund. So, and going for the fund means that you are going to compete with people. So if you are going to compete with other agencies, you should win. These are the basic business here. Like I've just said, everything here in this business will start from the design. The design is like a project. It's like a proposal you are put on ground. It has to be good enough to be able to convince the funder. Funders are not in your community. They wouldn't know what is happening in your own community. They wouldn't know the challenge in your community, but through your design is what they're going to look at. And you may also be attractive to a proposal or an idea that comes and they'll give to you to go and tease that out. Normally, we actually have been working also with, personally, I've been working with USAID from 2005 till last year. Some of us in our group have been working also with other agencies like CEDA, UNESCO, and the rest at the level of designing program to be implemented in some communities. So definitely, those are the areas where, when we become directors cadre, we need to begin to focus at. Because at that point, we are not expected to go to the field and run and cut grass and the rest. We are expected to sit in the office, look at government policies, and then try to turn down that policy into something that can be implemented in the field. So it's very important that we go back now and look at what we have been doing. A lot of us have done so much. Even you have done so much, but I'm sure it is the documentation. And then creating visibility for those things you have done That is what is left. You need to be visible. People need to know that you did this, not by you going to a newspaper to campaign. There are ways that is done, that when they are also looking for people who can do this, which you have been doing, you can be seen. So that is the area I'm actually going to. So it is important we talk about this designing effectively, so you can also talk about it. Because when you say that, oh, people need Gary, fry Gary, that is a concept, excellent. But the design of that program will be what will make it succeed or not to succeed. So from the discussion we had here, almost each and every one of us here had hand on deck. But the next level is professionalizing those things we have done to put us in a particular map, that when others are being seen on that map, we are also seen. Does my discussion make any sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's also have a slight talk around analyzing funds received. Do we have any social work program that doesn't require fund? You're laughing at me.
I don't think so.
Is there any social work program that doesn't require fund, even home visit? Even repatriation of children and so on. They all require fund.
It does.
They all require fund. They all require fund. They all require fund. And these are also part of what is hindering our job. Being able to make the work attractive and then attract fund. You know, government has fund. Am I right? I am a government staff. I'm working with government. I'm not a private practitioner. Whatever I do at the level of the private practice is voluntary. But I'm a government practitioner. I'm a government staff. So when you keep hearing no fund, no fund, no fund in your own department or unit or division, what does that mean? I'm sure we are all together.
Yes, it could be because we don't have a program and we are not designing anything, pushing it to the government to be able to source funds.
No. If you don't program and send to government, you will not hear no fund. You must have sent something to them and they say no fund. Or they respond to you, no fund.
Maybe it could be because they are not interested, because I know there are some of the government officials who will come in and they are not interested in what you program. That is not their place of interest.
Good. Whose fault is that?
I wouldn't answer that way, sir.
No. We are free. This is not office. Your guy won't do anything. No. Madam Director or PS, this is a class work. Whose fault is that?
I wouldn't say it's my fault. Well, I think is because they are not interested. Or else
you have said this before, and I'm still asking whose fault is that? You are still repeating that they are not interested. What makes people to be interested in something?
It could be, I don't know, maybe I didn't consult them because they need to be consulted. But government, do we need to consult government or community?
Yes, ma. Why do you? Sorry. Why do you consult people?
Because you need to get data, know what they need, and then
Absolutely,
know what.
Can you see that it is your fault?
Okay. Okay, I have
don't run away from the reality. You know why? It is a reality that will stand a test of time. I still go back to the Bible, right? I'm not a preacher. The Bible said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Everything you do without coming to the table of the reality. Social work is about table of reality. Evidence, evidence, and evidence. People can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but it is the truth that will prevail at the end of the day. Truth does not drag people to come and listen. Honestly, truth goes on his own. Who like to listen should listen. Who should not will leave. But you surely come to that truth. And when you sit to listen to the truth, you will see the difference. So, ma, it is your fault. It's our fault. That's where I'm going to. I'm saying analyzing fund received or fund analysis. We are not doing what we are supposed to do, and that explains why we are where we are. In the first instance, you are not the government. Government is your funder. So why won't you consult them? In the first instance, you are not the person that have direction for administration. You will not consult the person. In the first instance, you are not going to fund the project from your own money. Your family fund, maybe your grandmother's land will be sold and the money is brought. Why won't you consult them? Is it not when you talk with me and I talk with you now, you begin to know what I know?
Yeah.
If you don't talk with me, somebody can tell you, this man is a stupid man, doesn't know anything, he's a fool. And you will agree. But when you take time to talk with me, you will know I don't know everything, but in this small aspect, I think I know. So you cannot conceive, design without your funder. Your funder's direction is very important. Your funder can say, oh, we are going to do water. And you feel there should be cassava attached to it. You start the project with water and end in cassava. His own objective is achieved. Your objective is also achieved. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yes, sir.
Some division departments, each time they do their project, they get approved. Some of my colleagues have said, we in social work, it's like they don't recognize us. I say, who recognize people who don't do anything? Who recognize people who do not key to the moving train? Who recognize people who don't seem to understand what their masters want? Who recognize people who don't understand the body language of their leaders? Who recognize people who want to do whatever they want to do? Where have you seen that? I don't know if I'm right.
Yes, sir.
You must understand the direction of every new government that comes. Every government that comes have their direction, have their priorities in social work services. You start from their priority and then link in your own priorities. You cannot design program without consulting. Our department, our unit, courtesy call to the heads. Our department, our unit. Do we summarize what we have done and put them in a tape and send for the person to watch? Have we employ or take one or two persons somewhere to come and do graphical analysis of our impact? You come there and bring the program up, analyze how many people were consulted, how many did we distribute, impact analysis, show it there that these people gain, this one gain, this is what the community people say, and then put in a beautiful piece for the head to take a look. Apart from social work day, what else do we do to bring other government functionaries closer to us? Do we have internal summit? Do we do monthly or quarterly briefing of our own activities to other departments and ministries? How do you come up? How do you get seen? How do somebody see 10 files on the table and now sit down a social worker and say, oh, these are the people that normally do this. Let's work on it. And you say it's not your fault. How can it be the other people's fault? Every fault must start from you. If we don't have faults, we have no problem in it, we definitely can't do anything. If the fault of everything is with other people all the time, definitely we cannot do any project. So we need to first and foremost go back down to the drawing board, take a look at those things we on our own did not do well. If other departments or units or agencies or divisions are getting patronized by those in power, have we talked with them? Have we been able to find out how they are navigating those tables and getting the fund? What does their program looks like? Do we attend all their programs? Or when we come to office and see program for works and engineering, we say this one doesn't concern me. So definitely leadership has to be versatile. And all of us here at that leadership position, our versatility will actually improve where and what we are managing for the government. So I want to say that it's important for us to also create that versatility and then make our prominence felt. Are we there?
Yes, sir.
So we go back to our drawing board and we do a lot. As I'm telling you, I know what you do, but those things are not properly encapsulated and then transmitted to bring the impact that it's supposed to bring. So we work and we are not finishing for impact. We're always working. As I'm talking now, you may say, oh, this man doesn't know what we do here. We work a lot. I know. But if we work a lot, they are not being packaged properly and then put in a particular perspective that people will look at it and then say, oh, these people have worked. It still look as if we are not working. So the funding, no government has enough fund. And funding is done on priority. So what indices are used to prioritize others? We need to take a look at it. So I say that social work programs may have to meet high fiscal standard. Organizations often have to justify their cost. You've heard that. Look at your unit as an agency. Look at your department as an agency or an organization. You belong to state government. That's the entirety of your operation. You now belong to Minister of Women Affairs. That becomes your organization. Now you belong to Department of Social Welfare. That is your own agency. If you fail to operate and look at things from the perspective of an agency, you won't get the better social work results. This is the way social work is being managed. Social workers must see themselves as agency, and then I try to look at themselves as people competing for fund. Within the ministry, there are structures in the ministry. You have the Department for Women Affairs, Department for Social Welfare, Department for Vulnerable and Orphan, blah, 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 and so on, depending on which state we're talking about. So you must look at yourself as agency. You must look at yourself as people who must compete for programs. You must be looking at what others are doing. And beyond your ministry, you have to look at what other ministries are doing and see the areas where government are putting interest. Then in every area government are putting interest, such interest exists with you too. So you can also adapt to be able to attract funds. I said that organizations often have to justify their cost. For everything you write, you must justify your fund. And that is why we felt that this program design is important to discuss with you. And you should know it to remain afloat as a director. So if you can't justify the cost for what you have designed for government to play into, it will not really work. And those justification measures are things we're about to go into and things we need to talk about so that you can compete effectively. They can deny some other department fund and give to you. They can deny some ministry fund and give to you. The governor or whosoever in charge of fund disbursement is not biased. Is only being taken or thrilled or attracted by what is on his table and who is explaining those things to them too. If you explain and he doesn't see, it doesn't really make much sense. For us as professional social workers, when we talk to people, they see what we are talking, they don't just hear us. So you must also come to speed with that aspect of your practice. When you talk to people about issues, talk to people about programs, talk to people about something to do, they don't just need to hear you, they need to see what you're talking about. You understand the difference between hearing you and seeing. So when you talk to your superiors in respect of your programs, the answer they should give you should not be, I've heard you. Once they tell you, I've heard you, you know that you didn't work well, you have failed. But when you talk and they say, oh, I see, I am seeing what you're talking about. That is what a social worker gets as a result of effective presentation. So if you present only for them to hear, of course, you know where hear ends. But if you present for them to see, you can understand that they will ask you, what next do we do? When can we discuss this again? So going for that discussion requires that you meet colleagues to package. Everything you need to do must not start and end in your own unit or your agency alone. You have people outside their professional network that deal with things you do, which you must also harness into your operation. For being a member of a professional group, what do you gain? Those groups must be sharp enough to react to what you do and then sharpen what you do and help you also project what you do better. This is one of the reasons why professionalism is it, and the group which you belong to that are vibrant and good enough to produce results for you comes to play. So if you say it is not your fault, I wonder whether it's a fault of governor. And I cannot go and tell governor, look, be funding social work. Somebody say we should go to a state and tell the importance of social work. I say, no, it is social work in that state that will make themselves very important. So ask me, what do we do? If you want to engage governor, let us know. We could also be able to design how you will do that. That is the only work we can do. And if you also do it well, government will not only hear you, they will see what you are talking about. Does this make any sense?
Yes, sir.
So definitely, like I said, through cost evaluation method, organizations can address how much a services and component in their program cost and analyze them in relation to their benefits. Some of us, when they say draw up a cost for a program, we draw a cost that they will throw away. And trying to behave as if those who ask us to draw up that cost knows nothing about costing. I have been lucky to work as head of institution for over a while. I've also been lucky to be at a point where I approve things for others to implement. One of the major reasons for just keeping some papers aside is when they look unrealistic. When the papers also appears as if those who wrote it don't have common sense. For instance, you quote pure water at 200 naira per piece for me. And I already know that pure water is 20 naira. I may not look at other things again, but that pure water I know that is 20 naira and you wrote 500 naira has made me to believe that whatever you have costed is useless. And perhaps that is the only one that you did that kind of writing. Can you understand what I'm talking about now? So funding is it. Social workers should be able to unlock funding. They should be able to analyze the fund method, also understand what is their government funding. For everything government is funding, there's a social service perspective of it, which we must key into. So when we have a good design, of course, I so believe that the good design and costing can make us to be better. So let's also take a look at the last point of our discussion here today, measuring and maintaining accountability. Measuring, I've mentioned it earlier, measuring program effectiveness helps to maintain a check on performance while holding individuals accountable for themselves and the population they serve. If we cannot measure effectiveness of program, we can't establish it that is going to be good. So we should be able to do measurement effectively and understand that if we measure the program well, we can get it to become very effective. And then for every program, there's accountability. The one we did last year, have we retired it? In every program that we cost, when we are done, we have to write for surplus for extra money that the program cost us. How many of us have written for that before? Hello?
I've never.
I'm not a government agent. I'm a class teacher.
Just setting.
I'm a class teacher, so take me as a class teacher. I'm not a government agent, but I'm trying to bring you to little things too that matters. If on every program we implement, there's always additional cost for government. it also casts a little coldness in taking in some other programs that come from that end. I am not saying that there's no time that program cannot be overshot, but it cannot be overshot all the time. Because there's also that aspect of understanding that we must be able to play and accommodate inflationary issues without putting excessive burden to the government, and without also trying to put ourselves out as people who cannot also budget well and manage well. Then accountability is also part of it. If we are not accounting well on whatever is given to us, it can also affect our program's approval. So we need to understand the fact that accountability is a key issue in this business. If we have a budget given to us and we are not properly accounting for that, we should know. Then I think one other aspect I need to add on this matter is that, are we using our colleagues? When I mean using our colleagues, you know that we are not accountants. If we have issues that require that an accountant should work for us, do we consult the accountant? I mentioned that nobody is an island. As social workers, you shouldn't know everything. Even within the social work too, there are things that I don't know. If I'm with you for quite some time, I will know what you know better than me. So when I want to do something too, if that thing is the area you know well, I need to come to you. I need to consult you. I need to discuss with you. I need you to make input to it, because a good proposal, a good design, and a good implementation requires that people knows exactly what they are doing at what point in time. But they don't need to be expert of everything. But at least they have idea of what will happen and how it's going to be like. Then by so doing, we'll be able to produce a good result. And these are also part of accountability. Accountability is not only about money. Accountability is also about being responsible and being and putting things where they're supposed to be, and those things also yielding the result. Is also a show of accountability. But more importantly, funding requires that you are accountable financially as well. So when fund is being released, we should also understand that as social workers, that work social is very important. A social worker cannot have an enemy, but some of us have. There are some people that when they talk, we should never listen to them. It doesn't make sense. You have to listen to everybody, but you will not do what everybody say you should do. When you listen to everybody, you will know what you can choose and what you will not choose. But shutting yourself off of certain part of knowledge or certain category of knowledge is actually not a habit of a social worker. It's not also found as a business social worker should be engaged with. And listen to anybody. I can attend any program and listen to you, add to what I have, then see if I know what I'm going to do. Because if I don't listen to you, I won't know you. I won't understand what you're talking about. I won't even appreciate why you are not even good. I will not also appreciate why you are good. So invariably, we need to open up that our mind, open up our corridors, and know that we need to work with other professionals. When issues require that you connect accountant, please do. When issues require that you connect with administrators, please do. When issues require that you leave your ministry to Ministry of Works to go and connect with what aspect of it that will make your work better, you connect with them as well. Social workers are like gatekeepers. They are supposed to know everything by knowing those who knows everything, but not by them knowing everything on their own as their own knowledge. So if you now have restrictions of those you will not talk with, those you can meet, those you can never meet, those you can sit with, those you can never sit with in your life, I think you also shut yourself off what those people also know, which can be very tiny, but then part of what you also need to make a whole. The sense of delivery, sense of success is about having every small part complete in a person. So if that one small part or two is not there, there's going to be a kind of a small lacuna. And you know that in terms of light, the smallest dark corner shows more than others. And that smallest dark corners might be the smallest area you are also avoiding to associate with. So for instance, now I come back to the social I talk about. That social element in us must be guiding us right completely. If fund is also approved, no matter how little it is, to run program in our department, our unit, or our agency, do we go back to the funder to say, oh, a courtesy call to thank you? Or do we just sit down and say, what did they even do? the money they gave us was nonsense money. I've had that before. They gave others 500 million, they gave us 1 million naira. We go and thank for what? Is it their personal money they gave us? That's why I'm talking about understanding that word first. Our prefix, social. We must be highly sociable. We must understand certain social indices on working things out. Honestly, to be very candid with you, everything I know as a challenge or problems is easily solved with good relationship. So we must be able to start that good relationship with every person and maintain the relationship. Then it is the level of relationship that we're going to watch, but we must relate. Because at every point in time, you may need somebody in works. At every point in time, you may need somebody in the hospital. You may need other people to make your work better. So I'm trying to end this at this point that we need to be able to open our mind, broaden our mind also, and be able to connect. The best business social workers learn is keeping relationship. It's not about making relationship. You can make 50 relationship in the year, but your quality of who you are in social work is the number of that relationship you have been able to keep. It's better not to open relationship, but it's also better. It's actually bad to open and you do not actually keep the relationship, because in life of social work, you need every part that is relevant to function well as a good social worker. I draw my curtain here for the discussion today. We may ask questions, comments, and contributions. I hope I'm not alone.
Not at all. I think this is the aspect where we are losing.
No, sir, you are not alone.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
This is
We are
actually
with you.
Thank you.
We are losing it out signing.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Most at times are not designed. We like write something like schedule, taking. And when we accomplish whatever we're it has gone, and then go back to our funders to say thank you, appreciate you, or appreciate them, or even say it is. We don't do any of this documentation, and that is where we are losing it out.
Thank you so much. I'm sure we know it. There's always a time to start.
That's just our problem.
Thank you,
sir.
Any other comment or question? Comment or question? Okay, in the absence of any comment or questions, can we call it a day? Thank you so much for your time and thank you for listening to me.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question. In course of your mention, actually relating with other departments, because you can't know it all, which is true. And at the time you try to get knowledge from other persons or other departments, and you notice this shoulder trying to put you behind or trying not to give you the assistance you actually wanted, what do you do?
I take your question from two perspectives. One, shoulder. If you are looking for something for somebody, do you look at the shoulder? Can you answer?
Well, you don't. But,
you look at the face.
It is obvious.
Once you get what you want, you leave. You know why? A social worker should know that every person have their personality. There are some people whom the shoulder is actually their own personality. But we are focusing on what we are looking for. Once you get what you want, and whether he has shoulder or he doesn't have, if he can provide answers to your solutions, honestly, I have no business looking at the shoulder. That is one. Two, if he doesn't give you what you want, you look for some other person. Because even when you continue standing in where you cannot get what you want, it's as good as not going there. So that's what I would say. If a social worker knows that every individual has their personal presentations, honestly, and that person has what you want, you focus on what you want on the person. And once you get what you want, it's solving the problem you leave. There are some you go and they tell you, oh, it's not like this. Like I am at my own level, at my small level. I go to meet my boss in Abuja, right? I've gone to meet my boss in Abuja. The gentleman called me. That was about some years back. He called me, I need to see you tomorrow because I am based in Enugu. I need to see you tomorrow by 9 o'clock. I didn't tell him that there's no flight. Because I'm not in a position to argue with that, my boss. He's a very big boss. What I did is that I jumped on the tickets. I could not get any flight from Enugu to Abuja, but I saw Enugu to Lagos. I now saw Lagos to Abuja as early as 6 a.m. in the morning. I boarded Enugu to Lagos that night. I slept in Lagos. Boarded Lagos to Abuja at 6 a.m. By 8 o'clock, I was in the office waiting for him. He came into the office. He met me. He told me to wait. He's coming. Went into his office and spent 3 hours. After 3 hours, he came and told me, oh, I'm going to the presidency. I have a call. I'm coming. You wait. I waited till 5 p.m. He came back after 5 p.m. and told me, you please go and let's see tomorrow. I cannot see you again. And I left.
Yes.
The following day, I went there as early as 9, like he told me. I didn't even meet him. He didn't even come to the office. He came back around 4 o'clock and told me to give him some time. Enter his office and sat down for about 30 minutes and invited me. So you can go back to Enugu. I'll call you back. I'm exhausted with what I wanted to tell you. And I left. After 1 week, he invited me and apologized and told me that he was put on a tension. He could no longer do what he wanted. And told me that I am to go with him for a program outside the country. That was what he needed me to know. I should go and prepare. He handed me a letter nominating me to accompany him to a program outside Nigeria. And I left. I came back. Now, if I have gone there and got angry, but I know some of us could have even, in fact, would not go back again. So sometimes, if that man has what you want, but mind you, what is the name of our job, the general name of our job? All of us, what is our compound, a group name?
Show what?
Civil servants.
Okay.
The word servant in front of it is not a design, no. It's actually who we are. So if we have servants, which I am too, and you realize that anything you want to get, you are not trying to serve, you are looking for trouble. But then do you know a social worker should be more patient than every other person? Should be the last person to get angry on any issue. But we are the first to get angry. We see our meetings. That makes some of us look at things differently. Our meetings often end up in fighting, crisis, calling people's name, in fact, train table. Social worker. So it's important to focus on what you want. It's a lesson for all. I'm glad you said this. If that person you want to see, the shoulder is on top of mango, but there's something you want, you will get. Why don't you get that and leave?
Thank
My
you, sir.
advice. But if he has nothing you are looking for, don't go there. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, of course you did.
But for social workers, you should be able to manage people's temperament. They shouldn't manage you. When I see social workers talking, making noise, shouting, saying this, it make me feel, I don't know where they train to or where they are coming from or what is causing that. In fact, when social workers are having meetings, people should be asking, who are these people? In some other countries, they are called behaviorists. Because when your behavior is getting bad, they refer you to social worker. And you are going there to see the social worker bouncing table, calling his colleagues names. Say thief, idiot, this, that, abba. Where does it work? It casts more doubt to if we're actually on that table of professionalism, because no professional does that. If you go to a hospital and a doctor is making a mistake, no other doctor will scream on that doctor in your presence. You can never hear a doctor saying, that doctor didn't know what he's doing. I have not heard before. I've worked in hospital before, man. It is when you, the stranger, leaves, they approach themselves also in a very decent way. A doctor address a doctor as a doctor. Here, a social doctor address the other sister, the other person as a girl. You address your fellow colleague as a girl because you senior the person. Look at this stupid girl. This nonsense man, this nonsense boy. Is what we do. It doesn't work. Address his colleague as a doctor. You say, oh, doctor, can you come in? Doctor, that thing you did is not like that. But he has made sure that nobody is around. You think that doctor won't listen to the senior? He will listen to the senior. These are part of the trouble we have. You stand up and shut down your colleague in public. Even put on WhatsApp that is an idiot. This one is a rogue. This one is this. Is it done anywhere? You tell students that this one is stupid. This one knows it. This one doesn't know it. It's not done. The same student will look at you as a group of... some students have told me that, in fact, if not the way you people are doing, we will begin to... We were thinking about this thing. But what we are seeing online make us feel we're in the wrong profession. People won't read things the way you think they are. So when you post things, people will have different perspectives to read. So invariably, we should calm down. Whatever you need from the person has it. Please calm down. It might be the person's way of behavior, but it should not affect you. Once you take what you want, you leave the person with his behavior and go and do what you're supposed to do. Everything is all about you succeeding in your own endeavor. Do you have any other concern? Any other concern for us to address?
No.
Okay. Let me thank everybody here. I know I've taken your precious time. I want to think that it will be beneficial for both parties. I've learned from you. You have also learned a little from me. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well,